is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. A $53 million mystery. The Prime Minister says the Ministry of Finance so far can't track food task force funds. Education Minister Hannah Martin hopes the Bahamian will lead UB again soon. And Controversy Week continues this morning. Today we're talking about handgun ownership. Should it be expanded so more Bahamians can have access to handguns to protect themselves? We're having that debate this morning. It's all straight ahead. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
It's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Thursday, March 17th, 2022. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Laverne Gardner will be joining us. Also this morning, Director of Communications Latrey Ramming is going to be joining us. Going to be talking about what we've been hearing so far from the mid-year budget debate and about the Davis administration's first 6 months in office. Later in Morning Blend Business, we'll be talking with Rev Cable Bahamas. They're having a special webinar that will speak to the connected home. We'll get some details about that. A lot of people thinking about those things at this time. So a lot to get to this morning, but first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. Mr. Phil Davis telling the House of Assembly that the Ministry of Finance has not been able to determine how the $53 million issued to the National Food Distribution Task Force was spent, noting that there are no records on the spending and no standardized reporting on results. Davis also saying that Susan Larson, who chaired the task force, was paid a salary of $7,000 per month, top of a percentage of the total amount of money spent. Davis highlighted it was an example of the lack of transparency as it relates to the pandemic spending by the Minutes administration. Speaking in the House yesterday during the mid-year budget review, Prime Minister Davis saying, quote, "Since the chairwoman has appeared in the press following my statement last week, I will now speak more fully to some of the facts." Mrs. Susan Larson, the chairperson of the National Food Security Task Force, was hired by the government and paid a salary of $7,000 a month or $1,750 a week. Did we know that? Did anyone expect that? She was given some $53 million to spend, $53 million, but it appears that she was not required to report to anyone on how that money was spent. In addition to her salary while setting up the program, Mrs. Larson indicated to people on a Zoom call that she was also reserving 8% of what was being given to her for administration fees, and then she had a startup cost of 1%. Last week, Davis raised concerns over the operations of the food program, which was responsible for feeding thousands of Bahamian families during the COVID pandemic, and said it was discovered that one organization had nearly $2 million of money meant to feed Bahamians sitting on its account. However, in a follow-up interview, Larson said the outstanding amount was due to an accounting error and revealed that the NGO in question was Hands for Hunger. Mr. Davis yesterday saying that Larson said last month that she was unaware of any organization holding that amount of money, despite Hands for Hunger having indicated earlier that she had been informed. More from the mid-year budget debate. East Grand Bahama MP Kwesi Thompson says the economic recovery and improved revenue collection by the government in the first 6 months of the fiscal year are the result of the policies of the Minnis administration. Thompson, speaking during the debate, saying, quote, the problem with what is being put forward is that they are articulating that the policies of the PLP are now responsible for this economic rebound, which is not so. Thompson noted that the FNM is pleased to hear that the country is recovering after the dual economic blows of Hurricane Dorian in 2019 and the COVID-19 pandemic. But he says we've got to be honest with ourselves. Quote, everything we are talking about involves the first 6 months of this fiscal year, July to December 2021, was a result of the plan and mobilization of the FNM. Police Superintendent Chatswell Hanna says Bahamian media outlets exaggerate the seriousness of the issue of crime in the country, particularly as it relates to murder of women and girls. He made the comments during a University of Bahamas gender-based violence forum. He was asked whether the recent rash of murders of women and girls in the country ought to be considered femicide. Hannah saying, quote, when you say a rash of murders, you know the media has a lot of influence on how we perceive facts. Somebody being murdered is tragic regardless of their gender. But when a female is murdered, it gets a lot of attention. The media creates an illusion that this thing is just out of control, but that's not what the facts are saying. There's a difference. We don't have any cases where through our investigations we determined that a female was killed because of her gender. A man accused of murdering his 84-year-old mother was supported by 3 of his sisters when he made his first court appearance. Prosecutors allege that 50-year-old Sean Lang of Windsor Place strangled Pearl Lang on March 7th. Police did not initially suspect that foul play was the cause of the death until an autopsy revealed that she had died from strangulation. Lang was not after a plea to the murder charge when he appeared before Chief Magistrate Ferguson Pratt yesterday. Lang's lawyer, Lennox Colby, asked the court to order that he receive a full physical on admission to prison to determine if he had any healing bites or scratches. Colby submitted that it was impossible to strangle someone without the victim fighting back. Prosecuting attorney Inspector Samantha Mia said Lang's relatives had informed her that he suffered from severe seizures. Lang next appears in court on July 14th. On that date, prosecutors intend to fast-track his case to the Supreme Court for trial. After University of the Bahamas announced its decision to hire a non-Bahamian as its next president, Education Minister Glenn Santa Martin saying that she hopes a Bahamian will hold post in short order. She noted that the board is autonomous. Her comments coming amid controversy in some quarters over the decision by the board to hire Dr. Eric Rowland, a non-Bahamian. Speaking in the House of Assembly yesterday, Hannah Martin addressed the issue, saying, quote, I wish only to say that the University of the Bahamas in the selection of a president enjoys autonomy. That is in its charter, in the charter of the University of the Bahamas. That is not a decision that is delegated to anyone. And so I also know that the board has been very occupied with making decisions to cause for the university to attain accreditation and to become a stabilized academic force in the life of our country. It's also important to know that the search for a new president was completed before we took office. Overseas, Ukrainian authorities struggling to determine the fate of hundreds of civilians who had been sheltering in a theater smashed by a Russian airstrike in the besieged city of Mariupol. As officials say, Russian artillery today destroyed more civilian buildings in another frontline city. Some hope emerged as an official, and some people had managed to survive the Mariupol theater strike. A photo released by Mariupol City Council showed an entire section of the large three-story theater had collapsed after the strike Wednesday evening. Several hundred people had taken refuge in the building's basement, seeking safety amid Russia's 3-week strangulating siege of the strategic Azov seaport city. At least as recently as Monday, the pavement in front of and behind the once elegant theater was marked with huge white letters spelling out "children" in Russian, according to images released by the Maxar space technology company. Rubble had buried the entrance to the shelter inside the theater, and the number of casualties was unclear, according to the head of the Donetsk Regional Administration. Ukrainian parliament members and a former governor of the Donetsk region, where Mariupol is located, saying on Facebook that some people had managed to escape alive from the destroyed building, but not giving any further details. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky calling for more help for his country in a video addressed to German lawmakers today, saying thousands of people have been killed in the war that started almost a month ago, including 108 children. He also referred to the dire situation in Mariupol, saying, quote, "everything is a target for them," including a theater where hundreds of people found shelter that was flattened. The address began with a delay because of a technical problem caused by an attack in the immediate vicinity where Zelensky was speaking from. Zelensky's address to the German parliament came a day after he delivered a speech via video to the U.S. Congress that garnered several ovations as he called for more help. The Russian Defense Ministry denied bombing the theater, though, or anywhere else in Mariupol. Zelensky's office in Russia carried out further airstrikes in the city early Thursday morning today, as well as artillery and airstrikes around the country overnight, including in other provinces or suburbs of the capital of Kyiv. There was no immediate word on casualties. One of the more anticipated action-packed high school athletics competitions back on the schedule, but we'll be missing a key component this year as track and field, and by extension sports in the country, gradually gets back to a state of normalcy. Given approval by the Ministry of Health and Wellness about a week ago, a compacted BAISS, Bahamas Association of Independent Secondary Schools, track and field competition set for today and tomorrow at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium. 9 of the 14 schools have confirmed participation in the 2-day meet, with the notable absence of 3-time champions Queens College. BAISS President Perry Cunningham says he's not at liberty to state why the Comets won't be present, but added that the COVID pandemic has affected each of the schools differently. You can read about all the schools that will be taking part in today's Guardian Sports section. For the first time in just over 2 years, the Government Secondary Schools Sports Association, the GSSA, will host a sports meet. Their track and field timed finals that's set for Saturday at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium. The competition, which is expected to garner a lot of interest in the track and field community, will get underway at 9 a.m. with the open boys 500 meters, and it will feature 7 junior and 7 senior high schools. And at the end of the meet, there will be no junior or senior school champion crowned like in previous years. Ironically, the last sports meet the GSSA staged was its 2020 Track and Field Championships, in which the C.H. Reeves Junior High School Raptors and the C.O. Walker Senior High Knights emerged victorious. Major League Baseball spring training will get underway today, and 4 Bahamians are on rosters. Three hope to get a call up to the big stage, while one has already earned a spot in the big leagues. Players include Miami Marlins infielder Jazz Chisholm, Washington Nationals infielder Lucius Fox Jr., who enjoyed a short stint in the big leagues with the Kansas City Royals last season, and prospects Tanaj Thomas of the Pittsburgh Pirates and Chavez Young of the Blue Jays. The Marlins will kick off their spring training against Fox and the Nationals at the ballpark of the Palm Beaches in West Palm Beach tomorrow. That starts at 6:05 p.m. From the NFL, Russell Denver, Carson Wentz to Washington, Amari Cooper to Cleveland, Chandler Jones to Las Vegas, Khalil Mack and J.C. Jackson to the L.A. Chargers, Brandon Scherf to Jacksonville. You've heard most of that before, but there is some brand new NFL news. Super Bowl champion linebacker Von Miller is leaving Los Angeles for Buffalo. And star receiver Julio Jones is looking for work as well. Wednesday, teams could come clean after all the recent leaks made those moves and dozens of others college throughout the NFL. It's been a busy year so far, but Miller's move across the country was the headline grabber yesterday. He's getting a 6-year deal from the Bills and will pursue winning a third NFL title with a third franchise. He got a ring with Denver in 2015 and last season with the Rams. The biggest star released Wednesday was wideout Julio Jones by Tennessee. He lasted only one injury-filled year with the Titans. The 33-year-old Jones will be designated as a post-June release with the Titans cap hit until then. The Titans traded for Jones last June, but he started only 11 games, counting the postseason. Jones finished with a career-low 31 catches for 434 yards and 1 touchdown. That's sports. And that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather for today, we've got a weak cold front expected to skirt the extreme northwest Bahamas and increase rain chances across that area, while high pressure dominates elsewhere today. Beachgoers should exercise caution due to the moderate risk of rip currents at east and south coast beaches. Boaters in the extreme northwest Bahamas should remain alert for possible waterspout activity. For the northwest Bahamas today, look for partly to mostly sunny and warm conditions with a chance of a few isolated showers and possible thunderstorms, mainly offshore near the frontal boundary today. Mostly fair and mild with a chance of a few stray showers tonight. Small craft should be alert for gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers or thunderstorms. Wind south-southeast to south-southwest at 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet. For the central and southeast Bahamas today, mostly sunny, warm, and breezy with a chance of a few isolated showers. Turning mostly fair and breezy with a chance of a few passing showers tonight. Small craft caution remains in effect. Winds east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots, seas 4 to 7 feet. Temperature-wise, right now we are at a warm 76 degrees under partly cloudy skies in Nassau. Look for highs getting up to around 88 Fahrenheit, 31 Celsius today. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 70 Fahrenheit, 21 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
It's time for a break, but when we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9, your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Drive happy with free fuel for a year with CIBC First Caribbean and Esso. Use your CIBC First Caribbean Visa debit or credit card to fuel up with $25 or over at any participating Esso service station, and you are automatically entered for a chance to win the grand prize and weekly prizes of $200 in fuel or cash. Offer runs until March 20th, 2022. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more details. The Esso brand is a trademark of the ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Drive happy with free fuel for a year with CIBC First Caribbean and Esso. Use your CIBC First Caribbean Visa debit or credit card to fuel up with $25 or over at any participating Esso service station, and you are automatically entered for a chance to win the grand prize and weekly prizes of $200 in fuel or cash. Offer runs until March 20th, 2022. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more details. The Esso brand is a trademark of the ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's still. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Laverne Gardner. Laverne Gardner, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. Great to have you with us. 2 days, twice in 1 week.
Yay!
Yeah, that's good luck. That's a sign of good luck.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Coming up this morning, we've got more weather and traffic. And in our 7 o'clock hour, we're going to be talking with Director of Communications, Latre Ramming is going to be joining us. It's been 6 months. 6 months since the Davis administration, since the PLP won the general election. And we're going to be talking about 6 months so far, how that's going, and about what we're hearing, some of the very interesting things we're hearing coming out of the mid-year budget debate, which is going on now. We're going to get into that with him. Then we continue with Controversy Week. We are talking about the increasing calls for expanded gun ownership rights in this country. More and more people are saying they need the added protection of handguns, legally owning handguns, and that it's not fair for all the criminals to be armed and the citizens just sitting ducks, I guess. Well, we're going to have a debate about that this morning. We want to hear from you all about it. What do you think? And what that scenario would look like if that were to be a reality for the Bahamas. Yeah. That's coming up. Then later in Morning Blend Business, we're talking with the Bahamas. They are having a webinar on the connected home, what that is all about. Some people already have done that, and what it takes to have a fully connected home, what you need to do. All that coming up this morning. So a lot to get to, but let's begin with what's in the news. And in the news, some, I don't know what to call it, bombshells, accusations, definitely serious accusations about the food distribution program, the National Food Task Force, new Food Distribution Task Force. And the Prime Minister Davis, saying they can't really track the Food Task Force funds. In fact, the headline in the National Guardian is $53 million mystery. Included in that is the fact that the head of the task force, which has come as a surprise to some, was being paid, and being paid quite handsomely, many would say. For more on this and the fiery exchanges in the House of Assembly yesterday, take a listen to this report from our Jasmine Brown.
As he kicked off the mid-year budget debate, the Prime Minister pointed out what he called the Minnis administration's failure to be accountable and transparent about its spending habits during the COVID-19 pandemic. Davis placed the spotlight on the food program, Parks and Beaches Authority, and the travel health visa.
As leader of the opposition, I asked many times I asked for a transparent reporting of pandemic spending. It was never provided. At the start of the pandemic, anti-corruption organizations like Transparency International warned that some governments would seek to use the health emergency to bypass ordinary procurement rules. It would allow them to hide their spending decisions. I drew this to attention on many occasions in opposition. And I regret to say that this has happened here in our own country. Who is getting how much? And for what purpose? And under what terms?
Davis went on to lay out more details about the taxpayer money injected into the National Food Distribution Program. The Prime Minister said it is still unclear how the $53 million allocated to the task force was spent, noting that there are no records on the spending and no standardized reporting of results. He told parliamentarians that Susan Holowasko-Larson, who chaired the National Food Security Task Force, was paid $1,750 per week for her work. Davis says he found it surprising that Holowasko-Larson was being paid for her work, as he thought the job was a voluntary one.
And when you talk about NGOs, that's something like I didn't expect anyone to be being paid to do this job. Everyone was saying, they believe, pray what people call me, pray what you're doing, attacking these people who offering their services to help the poor people and this charitable work. And I was feeling a little bad. Big business. I truly was feeling a little bad, I know that wasn't my intent, because it truly wasn't my intent. But then I discovered they're making almost 10% of whatever they spend, plus $7,000 a week. And then a month.
His accusations prompted a fiery response from former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis.
The member thinks or suspects that there are hidden spending. I urge the member to investigate on any irregularities or any semblance of corruption. Charge the individuals, including myself, because I am totally against corruption. I am totally against it. Just totally transparent, do the investigation, and let the chips fall where they may. If not, then let's move on and tell the Bahamians what they are about to do about the recession and the cost of living and gas and food expenses that they face today. They want to hear, how are you going to life tomorrow? I'm hearing him saying he's against anti-corruption. He ain't for corruption, and he ain't this, and he ain't that. But I could tell you, right, and I will not say anything, if he was against all those things, what I'm going to be talking about in a short while, I would not have to be talking about. Because if he had done his job, he did not do his job, and he knew why he wasn't doing his job.
Reporting for Guardian News Network, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Okay. Wow. Just want to say to the former Prime Minister, Minnesota, we kind of want to hear about all of it. Yeah. What about the alleged corruption and what they've uncovered, and also their plans for the way forward. So, yeah. All of it.
All of it. Yeah.
All of it.
That would be accurate. We want to hear about what happened when you were Prime Minister. And we also want to hear about what's going to happen, what is in the pipe to happen. We want to hear about all of it.
Yeah.
I don't want the entire budget debate to be about this, but I believe that there is a place for this. As with all governments, there should be a place for this so that we as a people know what's going on, and that there is a level of accountability, which seems to be the problem. And this is not new. This is not new, Dwight. This is always the crux of the problem. The lack of record keeping, the lack of accountability, explanation.
Yeah.
You may know where the money was spent and how it was spent, but it was not recorded.
Yeah. All right. So you heard that very extensive report there from our Jasmine Brown. Today's newspapers go even deeper in it, in what was said yesterday. Rachel Scott writing in the National Guardian today. So you will recall last week, Davis raised concerns over the operations of the food program, which was responsible for feeding thousands of Bahamian families during the COVID pandemic, and said it was discovered that one organization had nearly $2 million of money meant to feed Bahamians sitting on its account. However, in a follow-up interview, and remember this, Larson said the outstanding amount was due to an accounting error and revealed that the NGO in question was Hands for Hunger. Davis said yesterday that Larson said last month that she was unaware of any organization holding that amount of money, despite Hands for Hunger having indicated earlier that she had been informed. He said, quote, and two entities which received collectively over $15 million have refused to respond to queries as to how the money was issued or used. Also, some entities were directed by the chairwoman to pay money to other organizations, which shows at a minimum the haphazard design of the program. We were extremely surprised to hear Mrs. Larson describe in the interview the almost $2 million surplus payment for Hands for Hunger as an accounting error. While the phrase accounting error may cover any multitude of sins, what we do know is on February 17th, 2022, she said she knew of no organization that had a balance in an interview with those persons she was talking to. But we know that when the entity that had the funds and returned it, they said that they had told her about these monies. So we don't know where the truth lies, but eventually we think that that would also be known. Boy, okay. Davis says experts in the Ministry of Social Services were never consulted on the design and implementation of the food distribution program. We've heard him before. Also said that while that well-established organizations like the Red Cross and some major churches were involved. In her interview with the National Guardian last week, Larson warned Davis against isolating NGOs with his disparaging remarks. However, Davis said yesterday that it was never his intent to upset those heading NGOs, whom he said should direct their frustration toward the Minutes administration for its lack of proper accounting. He He said he has no quarrel with Hands for Hunger or any of the other legitimate NGOs who are involved with the program. He said, quote, "Now I understand that these people might be upset with me. I'm sorry. I didn't intend to upset anyone. We are only attempting to find out how the funds, we try to reconcile the accounts, and we want to be accountable because this is the people's money that was being spent. And had the competent authority, the member for Killarney, or any members of the previous government reported on their dealings as the law required, these errors would have been discovered and we would not be having this conversation today." Now, with parks and beaches, the Prime Minister insisted that the wrongdoing of the Minutes administration was far-reaching, as he pointed to contracts issued by the Bahamas Public Parks and Public Beaches Authority. The authority and its former chairman, Shandon Cartwright, have come under scrutiny in recent months over pre-election contracts. Yesterday, Davis said the authority awarded contracts to people with no equipment and no employees, as he repeated his accusation that the former government used the entity as a slush fund. He said, quote, "Some large value contracts, such as trucking and street sweeping, were negotiated and approved without any technical advice. Some individuals received contracts for over $250,000 without having any infrastructure of their own. For example, they had no employees of their own." Let me repeat that. Individuals were awarded large contracts to carry out work, but the staff and infrastructure were provided by the state. How does this make sense? What were they doing to deserve those contracts? And how does this make sense, especially at a time when Bahamians were prohibited from visiting local parks and beaches by the competent authority? I repeat, all the evidence points to the fact that the authority was effectively being used as a slush fund, with no attempt made to ensure that the services being paid for by Bahamian taxpayers were provided. The Prime Minister also said that both the finance officer and the managing director of the authority had no relevant experience to justify their postings. He said there was no internal controls and suggested that Cartwright's signature had been forged on some documents. Davis said, quote, "The management of the authority has claimed not to have a specimen signature of the executive chairman, so they are unable to identify the true signature of the executive chairman of the authority." Oh, my. Okay. Well, quote, "Large value contracts issued by the authority contain 3 distinct signatures, all purporting to be that of the chairman. Simple logic dictates that at least 2 of them must be fraudulent, unless, of course, the executive chairman authorized someone to sign his signature. Who was signing these contracts?" Davis has criticized the lack of transparency surrounding the food program and Bahamas Public Parks and Public Beaches Authority were just some of the several issues he highlighted as he accused former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis and his colleagues of using the pandemic to dodge accountability and oversight. He accused the former government of hidden spending and accused Minnis of being aggressively incompetent at best. Responding to Davis yesterday, Minnis said an investigation should be conducted and to jail him if necessary, as you heard before in that clip. Okay, that's a lot. Let's get your reaction to it, folks. Tell us what you're thinking here. Some serious accusations being made. Very serious. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796.
Dwight, hasn't there, from the inception, from the food program was rolled out, wasn't there always like a shadow over it? Didn't there always appear to be issues? The average person, Bahamian, not having all of these details, but there seemed to have been a shadow over it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, people had issues with what was being distributed. And of course, I had quite a few people who fall in, one in particular, who every single week had something to say.
Right.
Of course.
It's just like controversy has been following this this food program. From day one.
Right. There were issues with who wasn't involved in the program. Remember, they were saying there were people, there were some entities that do this all the time. Why weren't they a part of it? and that was probably for the best. As best as they weren't mixed up in this. But
maybe not, because if this is something that they do all the time, they would have had established
maybe
policies.
Yeah.
And perhaps we wouldn't be where we are now discussing this and the lack of transparency.
Well, that's a possibility as well.
You know, Dwight, part of this happens when you have a competent authority.
Or
you
aggressively
get to make all the decisions.
Or aggressively incompetent authority, according to the current prime minister. All right, call in, folks. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us. Let's get to your text messages. Quite a few of these. Somebody saying here, people seem to keep glossing over the fact that, where is this coming from? This is for us today? Really? Sex workers? Okay. Let's go to this one. Yesterday, Prime Minister Davis offered a bunch of speculation and a supposition about missing monies without concrete proof, but wants to be taken seriously. This is a case of the pot calling the kettle black when the pot is blacker than the kettle. Well, he says to come, right? So there's more to come. It's I think he's going to wrap up the debate. That's how it usually works. But the more to come. More to come. This one says here, Davis can shut all the way up about not knowing about the Food Task Force spending. He hasn't passed any laws that would give the opposition access to that information in the future. Please, Dr. Minnis, stay quiet. Bahamians are not fools. Don't say you are against corruption and give someone millions to spend without being accountable in how that money was spent. This one says here, what's going on with these 3 different signatures? Is that normal? I know if you go into certain banks and your signatures don't match, that causes a problem. Certain banks, I think that's all of them, wherever there's money that's to be distributed, that would be a challenge.
Well, bear in mind, Dwight, if I can just mention, because I did have an opportunity to listen to it, to some of the debate live, and the former prime minister stood up and he said that he has more than one signature. He said that. He said that he has.
Why am I not surprised that he would say something like that?
He said that he has more than one signature. That was at one of the points when he stood up to advise the current prime minister to be careful with accusations and saying fraudulent signatures, because he has more than one signature.
Did he explain why? Well, when does he need more than one? Is that when he was? You remember he used to tell us. He was the prime minister, he was an MP, he was the minister of whatever, and he's the competent authority. So maybe each one of those had a different signature. Is that what?
Well, he said that he has one that he uses for banking purposes, and then he has other signatures.
Okay.
He has more than one signature, he said.
That's when you're fancy. Okay, plenty of people messaging us about how they have more than one signature. Well, look at you all. How do you keep track? I mean, people can't keep track of their passwords but you got the same password for everything. You got okay, well, there you go.
Listen, I'm just letting you know that is what he said.
But as you see, he says he does his banking with one and he does other things with the other one.
Right.
So I don't know why a chairman signing contracts would use different signatures, unless it's a Monday signature, Wednesday signature, Friday. Is that? Okay, let's hear what the callers have to say. Good morning, caller. How many signatures do you have? Okay, we got another one there. 323-623, 325-4316, 325-4259. Caller, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Yes. I would just like to say, in connection with the Honorable Dr. Minnis and Honorable Brave Davis, we must remember that that key word is honorable. Then all they do and say in and outside of the House of Parliament must be honorable, because they are first the representatives for themselves and for the people. Now, getting into the matter is that it seems as though there was some mismanagement going on based on Dr. Minister's reaction from the newspaper. And you could tell me if I'm wrong with the statement, but I believe it said he will bust his hip. And I took that very, I don't want to say offendedly, but I was quite shocked for the first time in my life as a Bahamian woman to hear a prime minister respond like that to anybody. I was just caught off guard. You know, you don't have to be using that type of statement if you don't have anything to hide. And because if you are speaking the truth will come out eventually, and you have your receipt, as they should, in being accountable as a former prime minister. You have your documentation, you have all your accountants, and you could tell them yourself, you could do an internal audit or whatever the system that they would use. Because when he used that statement, busters, hey, let's look at what happened to the young lady in the school who was attacked, I think, by 7 young ladies. We're trying to get this type of barbaric behavior out of our social, economic type system. So him being a former prime minister shouldn't even let that come out of his mouth, you know? And so I think he needs to apologize for saying that. If he doesn't say it publicly in the newspaper, he should say it in the House of Parliament, because that was way left and it should not have been said or stated at all. Whose hip are you going to bust? That's a type of bullying statement. Just say, I don't like what you said, it's not true, and leave it at that. You understand where I'm coming from, sir?
Yes.
So, it was totally derogatory and demeaning and totally way left. And I also wanted to say, sir, I don't want to dissuade from your topic. With the young lady yesterday, I believe it was yesterday where you had the young lady from Form on. I just wanted to piggyback
early in the week.
With her was she dealing with the situation with the ladies? That women in our country, we need to learn to respect ourselves on the level where we have that type of esteem, where we don't allow a man to hit us, to abuse us verbally or non-verbally. Because my thing is, from the first time that gentleman hit you or shouted at you or handled you, put his hand on you in a way that was not seemly, you were supposed to speak out and say, hey, that one, you don't do that with me. That's not going to happen here. But when you don't say anything, it indirectly tells your perpetrator or the person doing the offense against you, hey, I can continue this on. So the first time, and I'm going to say this for all the women in this country and those who listen around the world, the first time is the last time. That's how you have it to be. You love yourself to the place, you don't let anybody, even yourself, abuse you. And I will release the call, and you go on. Have a great day, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. Continue to call in, folks. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us.
In response to the caller just now, the first part, we're not going to get an apology. So I don't look for one. I'm sure we're never going to get an apology about that. But that is the way that that is the way that we feel is comfortable behavior. Some people enjoy it. I think, even the voice note that went out in response to what the former prime minister said.
This is
and how low can we go? We find out every time.
Mm-hmm. Which voice note? Which one are you talking about? From the chairman?
Yes, with the chairman.
PLP chairman. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we've been every year it gets a little lower around here, unfortunately.
We keep going lower and lower, like you said.
But I do think people need to voice their displeasure with it, and that would get perhaps some to think that they have to be very careful when they speak. That would be good.
Okay, I'm not optimistic about that. And the other thing here is this: if all of these things that are coming out, these revelations, that has us in awe and in shock, my concern is always, what are we going to do? That's always my question. What are we going to do to prevent this? Are we going to prosecute anybody? What are we doing beyond the shock and the awe? And the other thing is, it just goes to show you, it doesn't matter how good your intention is, you have to be seen to be doing the right thing. Yes, we like to use the former government likes to say that we were in the middle of a pandemic and decisions had to be made. Yes, but you also have to put checks and balances in place, because at the end of the day, you are accountable for the spending. Yes, it could be born from good intentions, but you have, it's not your money. It's not your money. And so you have to be accountable. You have to be able to say, this is what was spent, this is where it went. And, based on what we are seeing, we don't have that. People were allowed to almost operate as if it was their money and they could do what they want. So at the end of this investigation, what are we going to do?
Got another call. Let's take this. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning. I have more than one signature. I don't know.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, of course. At separate institutions. I don't think a bank, or let's say use a bank, for example, would allow you to have two different signatures at the same bank. But at one bank, you can have one signature, and at the other, you can have another. Because I remember working closely with a politician who's now deceased. That was the case. And sometimes as you get a little older, your signature may vary, and the bank would still keep a record and copy of the variations and still allow people to cash checks. That's perfectly normal. But when you forge someone's signature, which was done in the presence of the former prime minister, he thinks that's normal.
Well,
that's the thing
but let me ask you, why do you have, and how are you keeping track of which bank is the one with the signature?
Well, that has to be something that you keep personally. But
what's the reason you did it? Because
is it for like security purposes?
Yeah.
Well, no, I accidentally. What happened was I got so used to using one way, and I didn't like it, and I changed it to another way at another institution, and I kind of like that one. But every time when I go back to the first institution, they have to remind me, no, and then I remember.
You can change
now I got
it,
that down pat. So if you can keep
it's a
track, I guess
form
that's
that you
fine.
can change.
But I don't know the reason. I don't know what other reason you'd have like 50 of them. Or, then you really get a little murky to me. But I think 2, maybe because you can keep track 3. Sure, I think I don't. Is there anything illegal about that?
Probably not. It just seems like a headache. A massive headache.
It just seems, a lot to try to remember. Okay, at the bank, this is my signature, but when I'm just signing contracts, this is my signature. It's a lot to keep track of, but I don't think that there's a law per se against that.
No, but what I'm saying is, if you have a signature that you're using at a bank and you're signing a check for someone to cash that check at that particular bank, you have to remember that signature is for that bank and another bank. So you just have to keep track of that. But I'm trying to find out, how is it that someone can forge a signature in front of you, you made aware of it, and you don't say anything about it. You just and then on top of that, the whole bond files can't be found. So when is he going to address that?
Oh my goodness!
I think at the same time he apologized.
Right, exactly. Forget about that one. Let that go. Let all that go. Okay. That's over now.
Well, if nothing comes out of this exercise, then it clearly indicates that both of these parties are just having a field day with us and stealing from us. That's really the word. Because if nothing comes out of this, then they all are crooks. And watch this. Let's see what happens.
Dear. All right. Thank you very much. So everyone's coming out admitting they have multiple signatures. I guess I shouldn't be surprised in a country where sweethearting is so rampant. But this is okay. Okay. All right.
Dwight, how do you make that connection?
No, I'm sorry. But this person says a signature is whatever you mark technically. Banks keep signature cards for fraud and investigative purposes. What is key is being able to identify the person who's signing. My signature isn't exact. Some days it's very lazy, but it's still me. Yeah, exactly. Like sometimes like my hand does a thing, and my little word twirly thing goes flying in a totally different direction. But
Absolutely.
but that's not a different signature.
Different signature, right.
It's
I'm the
just
same
like-
way, depending on my mood, how much of a rush I'm in.
Yeah.
It's not 100% identical.
Exactly.
But it's the same.
It depends on the pen, the surface of the thing I'm signing on, all kinds of things.
You have those variations, but we're not talking about a little variation. We are talking about different signatures. I heard it with my own ears. I heard it, Dwight.
That's
That was
crazy.
what he said. He said that he has more than one signature.
Okay, a bunch of people tell us they have it.
And I think that was in response to when the current prime minister was talking about the chairman and there being 3 different signatures.
I see. Okay, let's get through some of your messages. So many people say this is going to be the question I ask everybody who calls in. First question: how many signatures do you have? Okay. This person says here, Dr. Minnis and his administration reminds me of someone who's caught in quicksand. The more one struggles, the deeper they sink. We also want the Prime Minister to tell us about the millions of dollars in contracts that was issued with the last 6 months under this administration that did not go to tender, including the new Pinecrest subdivision. Okay. I think we read that one already. This one says here, tell the, I don't know what word this is. Tell somebody to sit small and you need to read all the text. Excuse me? We need to know what's really going on in the Bahamas and how people really feel, so don't have a surprise situation. Okay, I need to read all the text saying. Yeah. Anyway, Brave talking about parks and beaches giving contracts to people with no employees, etc. And I know firsthand of an 84-year-old woman with no tools and no employees. She can hardly walk, and she's receiving parks and beaches contracts just this week for Verge cleaning. Tell Brave take that Bibby out his eye. The PLP doing the same garbage. Wow. Okay. Another one says here, this will never stop unless the process goes through the e-procurement process. And the reason why this was set up was to avoid this. Another text here. Yesterday, Davis offered a bunch of speculation. We read that already. You said that 3 times, Dexter. Let's take this call, and then we got to take a quick break. Good morning, caller. You are on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Lady Gardner. Dwight, I want you to put on your diving suit this morning just a minute to engage me before you go on your break, and let's go deep for a second. First of all, I'm a part of a committee. All right, in the committee you have the chairman, you have, well, I don't know, in that situation with the food distribution, you have you have the chairman, you have the treasurer, and you have the secretary, and you have different officers. Tell me something. How is it that Miss Susan Lawson was collecting that money every month, but still you came and you tell people that this is free? You trying to tell me and all of that with findings that they're finding, all of those persons who are on that committee, they don't know nothing, Dwight? You think that's fair? And then, Ms. Gardner, I hear you allude to something that this is not the time for the Prime Minister. This isn't the place. Listen to me. Ms. Gardner, I don't know where you was a year and a half ago when people were calling my phone, begging for water, who was locked down, calling Mr. Strachan phone, the talk shows, talking about how they locked down and how they getting treated. Where were you? So Mr. Davis or whoever can bring out the findings of what the past government did to the poor black people in this country when it comes to their finances and taxes, I don't care where it is. He could go in church or he could go on the mountain. Because I think someone has to be
just interject in your rant.
Someone has to be held accountable.
What I'm saying to you is perhaps you need to pay attention. I did not say that it was not the time. What I said was we want to hear about this, and we also want to hear about what we are doing now in the budget. That is what I said. So I appreciate your rant, but it's unfounded in that because you're misquoting me. I never said that this was not the time. So pay attention.
All right, let's take this other call really quickly. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Assistance. Dial your operator.
No. Okay. Do we have another one there? All right, good. Okay, let's take the break. When we come back, we're going to be talking more about this with Director of Communications, Trey Ramming. He's joining us. We've got a lot to talk to him about, including the first 6 months of the Davis administration. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Evening, she was standing outside of the parking lot, and I said, "Hey, ma, where you been? Been looking for a woman like you for all my life." And she said, "Hola, talk to me before I have to leave. And one day we could be maybe more than two lost souls just passing by." Knew I was falling when I looked inside your eyes. She said, "I know you are, but what am I?" Tell me, have you seen the sunset turn into a sunrise? Kiss right through the night. 'Cause we should try that sometime. Hold you till the morning. And if I said I'm falling, would you just reply?
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Time for your first look at traffic for this morning. Brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. In real-time traffic, we've got Milo Butler Highway as usual. Heavy traffic from the Fire Trail roundabout all the way up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway in the northbound lanes there. Gladstone Road also seeing some heavy traffic just north of Fire Trail in the northbound lane to JFK Drive. Building traffic on Carmichael Road westbound to Coral Harbor Road and eastbound to Blue Hill Road. Blue Hill Road seeing some traffic building from St. Vincent Road up to the Independence Drive roundabout, especially north of Soldier Road this morning. Elsewhere, we're seeing the traffic already on Eastern Road. Heavy traffic from just east of Fox Hill Road to near Johnson Road westbound. And some heavy traffic on San Souci Road northbound. Try to get out on Eastern Road. And then Fox Hill Road northbound to the Prince Charles Drive intersection. Seeing some heavy traffic there. Building traffic along Prince Charles Drive, especially major intersections. That's where we're looking for this morning. That's your traffic and your morning blend traffic alert. We'll have another update for you after the 8 o'clock news. Your traffic alert brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. And it's 7:40, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by the Pan American Health Organization. We've got a weak cold front that's expected to skirt the extreme northwest Bahamas and increase rain chances across that area, while high pressure dominates elsewhere today. Beachgoers should exercise caution due to the moderate risk of rip currents at east and south coast beaches, and boaters in the northwest Bahamas should remain alert for possible waterspout activity. For today, for the northwest Bahamas, partly to mostly sunny and warm with a chance of a few isolated showers and possible thunderstorms, mainly offshore near the frontal boundary. Mostly fair and mild with a chance of a few stray showers tonight. For the southeast and central Bahamas, mostly sunny, warm, and breezy with a chance of a few isolated showers today. Mostly fair and breezy with a chance of a few passing showers tonight. Temperatures getting up to around 88 Fahrenheit, 31 Celsius today. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 70 Fahrenheit, 21 Celsius. In your extended outlook, that cold front will meander across the extreme northwest Bahamas through Friday before migrating northwards as a warm front. High pressure will rebuild across the area before retreating eastwards ahead of yet another cold front expected to enter the northwest Bahamas by Sunday. So ahead of that, for tomorrow, Friday, look for partly to mostly sunny, breezy, and warm conditions with a chance of a few isolated showers. Saturday, partly sunny, breezy, and warm with a few scattered showers. That's your morning blend weather check brought to you by PAHO. COVID-19 vaccines and boosters are safe, effective, and protect you against getting seriously ill, being hospitalized, and dying from COVID-19 virus. Getting vaccinated helps to keep you and those you love safe from the serious effects of COVID. The vaccine offers the best protection against COVID-19 when combined with physical distancing, hand washing or sanitizing, and wearing your face mask properly. Visit vax.gov.bs to book an appointment at your nearest government clinic or the mall at Marathon, or simply walk into any of those locations.
When you're hunting for your first home, it can feel like a lot.
With RBC by your side, your home owning journey can be stress-free. An RBC mobile mortgage specialist will meet you almost anywhere, and you'll benefit from flexible repayment terms, lower upfront costs, and cashback where it matters. Pre-qualify to see what you can afford. Start at rbc.com/Caribbean/mortgages. Limited time offer.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Fidelity, we're good for you. We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Over 5 years we've been here. Time to review our options.
CIBC First Caribbean. Home ownership is a big deal, so move on merrily with CIBC First Caribbean. Switch your mortgage, and you'll get half off the appraisal cost, commitment fee, and more. Enjoy up to US $10,000 toward your switching cost.
A peaceful rest. Glad we moved to CIBC First Caribbean.
Merrily.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/move merrily for details.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
I need someone to hold me. Come on, baby, hold me. Yeah, I've been feeling jaded. Don't know how I should play it. Tell me how to play it. Now you've been moving on. Let me know, can I come along? Since you're gone, oh, it's been so long. On my own, my own, my own, my own. Living in a haze, staying in the shade. All I do is sit around and wait for better days. I could use a break. Can I get an amen? All I do is sit around and wait for better days.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. And morning, we're very pleased to have back with us Director of Communications, Latrey Ramming. Good morning, Latrey. Great to have you with us as always. Let's get your mic unmuted.
Sorry about that. Good morning.
Go.
How are you?
Not bad, not bad. Great to be with us.
Laverne? I'm correct, though? Gardner, sorry. Gardner.
Yes, Laverne Gardner is with us. And again, great to have you with us. A lot to talk to you about. What we're hearing in the mid-year budget. and 6 months since the Davis administration has been in office. So we're going to get into that. First question I got to ask you this. I'm asking everybody this today because this is mind blowing to me. How many different signatures do you have, sir?
I have one.
I'm just shocked at the number of people telling us that they have more than one. They have multiple.
I have one.
We are amongst the minority.
Yeah, well, let's.
Who have one. We need to all up our game here.
Anyway, there's a lot of things that I find curious about the utterances of the former prime minister, but that one was the number one.
That is really something. We're going to have to do a whole show on that, I see. But okay, so let's get into some of these accusations. And we got a text this morning, someone saying it, although the Prime Minister Davis says that he will come with the proof, but he brought this up. I guess he's going to do this at the wrap-up. But people are saying it's just a bunch of claims. Where is the proof? Where is the evidence as opposed to what you're saying? From your perspective, from what you know, you have hardcore evidence that there's been wrongdoing done here, or are just pieces not adding up yet? And
I think
they're
Go ahead.
Yeah, are pieces just not adding up yet, and it's a possibility that they will, or can you tell for certain that there has been some wrongdoing, some corruption here?
I think the Prime Minister made several critical statements yesterday. One, I think the first statement was the movement of the former administration to use the emergency orders to shield the details of their spending, right? On numerous occasions while in opposition, the Prime Minister had said on numerous occasions that of the importance of the government fulfilling their legal responsibility of making public their COVID-19 spending, right? And if you would call, on many occasions, that was breached. I mean, that there was no, at the ending of each emergency order, the government were responsible of bringing the accounting of their spending to Parliament, right? None of the facts that the Prime Minister mentioned in Parliament met an objection from any of the FNM's members of Parliament. Matter of fact, I say the former minister for Grand Bahama, as far as saying last night, whilst the Prime Minister mentioned some of those statements surrounding the food program, he wasn't alluding to Grand Bahamas. Entirely separating himself from it. The former Prime Minister certainly didn't challenge the facts of it. Simply said, in an unusual statement that, if most persons would say that at the end of your findings, you would find that I had done nothing wrong. Minister saying at the end of your findings, if you find that I'm corrupt, you can arrest me, right? The basis of all of these statements are grounded in audits. What the Prime Minister is representing to the Bahamian people is that because the former administration was negligent in their responsibility of doing the diligent accounting required to present to the Bahamian people on some $53 million in their taxpayers' dollars, he is now doing that process. And in doing that process, he's realized that there was a deliberate effort to set up a structure outside of the normal public service parameters in an effort to subvert sums of monies for whatever purpose. And what is astounding, most persons were not under the view that Mrs. Holowesco was being paid a significant salary for this to happen. And neither did, at any occasion, they mentioned that there was a 9% administration fee that would be attributed to from the charities. So I think that we're talking about the diversion of public funds. And I think the Prime Minister have a responsibility to the Bahamian people to report these findings in his midterm budget statement.
Now, we're already getting text messages about this. People are wondering, and I know I've heard It's said by the administration that they will be looking at strengthening the existing legislation that's been passed after the budget presentation later in the year. But many are concerned that this is in place, that these things could still happen at this time. What is the administration doing about that?
I think one of the things that I think that we are strengthening the Procurement Act, but there are mechanisms in place. Dwight, what we're talking about is the diversion of an existing system, the diversion of lack of reporting to senior government officials. I mean, even as simple as in one audit report that I read, is that even the simple process, none of the permanent secretaries in the Ministry of Social Services who have the mandate and responsibility to oversee this kind of social assistance have any record of what transpired during this process. We're talking about what they claim to be historic spending, right? When we mention the findings of what the Transparency International would have said, that governments ought to be very careful and not abusing emergency powers in a way that it leads to the misspending or the misappropriation of government funds, right? So it's not like there is an existing systems. You're speaking about an intentional diversion to subvert these systems, no lack of reporting, no lack of accountability. And you have a situation where the Prime Minister, through the Ministry of Finance, is seeking to ascertain critical government information. And everyone is saying they don't know what happened or they don't know what transpired. And senior government officials have no detailed records. And so the reason why the Prime Minister is now mentioning NGOs is because it appears that outside Mrs. Lawson and the charities, they're the only one who are the gatekeepers of such information. Mm-hmm. And it ought not be that way.
Yeah. All right. So what you just talked about, why does it seem like it takes so long for someone to speak up or for this to come to light that the process has been subverted, that things are not done in the correct way? What can be done to reduce or to encourage people to say, hey, this is not the way we do things, and speak out, if not to someone who could make a difference, at least publicly?
Well, one of the things that we had mentioned is we said that at the ending of the emergency orders, that we were going to provide a full accounting to the Bahamian people on the spending in its entirety. These things aren't going to happen again because we don't intend to operate under an emergency orders of one rule. But we promised the Bahamian people that we would go provide an audit of everything that happened. In doing the audit, we realized that we were going to audit two things: the travel health visa. We're going to take a review of some of the emergency orders decisions that were made to ensure that there was no special privilege granted anyone and there wasn't any abuse of power there. And then we were going to look at the food program because of the significant spending of it. It was not until that the audit began, we realized that there was a lack of cooperation. And today, there still remains a lack of cooperation. And when we began to make mention, I think in January, I think when the first preliminary audit was done, we made mention of it. And I think that the government called it a distraction. The former administration called it a distraction from the Dubai. And that was the first sort of sounding the alarm that we had NGOs who were not cooperating, or we had persons who were responsible or had oversight who was simply not cooperating with the government and trying to do its responsibility of reporting to the Bahamian people.
Trey, the Prime Minister mentioned two NGOs who were absolutely not complying, who were not responding. If they continue to refuse to respond, are you aware of any recourse if they absolutely refuse to respond or comply?
So one of the things that the Prime Minister did in his budget statement, he said to them in very plain, simple terms that there will be no avoiding the due process of justice. But what he wants to avoid is what transpired in the previous administration with political interference, or political, the involvement of the political directorate. I think that the Prime Minister has reached a point where he's looking at other mechanisms. I think that will be announced shortly that will bring about the required accountability that the Bahamian people have. One of the things that he is cognizant about, the fact that he believes that the Bahamian people have a sense of fatigue. Governments mentioning that there is dispute, that there is wrongdoing by a former administration, and there's no level of accountability. So he is committed to ensuring that a process is undertaken in a way that he could report back to the Bahamian people in a very transparent and independent manner, would have no reach of the political director.
And all of these will be tabled in the House, and we will have full access to it once it's done?
Yes. I could guarantee you that the Bahamian people, whatever the findings are, the Bahamian people publicly.
Now, we got a break for news, but this interesting message from one of our listeners, the fact that all of this happened under the emergency orders when an emergency had been declared, and that once that's in place, the government can say it has to do things in a certain way or not required to do things in the way that's required. Will that be... Well, and that's a part of what's covered by the Constitution there. Does that make the difference here? That because we were in a state of emergency, that things couldn't be or didn't have to be done the way that they normally should?
No, the Constitution never permitted the diversion of public funds outside of the existing reporting apparatus. The Constitution specifically speaks to the need for the government to account for the spending inside Parliament at the conclusion. So it did get it speak to the need for proper oversight. Mm-hmm. It did speak. Constitution does speak to the need of proper oversight in a way that it reports to Parliament, not the diversion of public funds from the existing parameters.
All right. We got a lot more to talk to you about. Stick around with us, please. This is Morning Blend. We're talking with Latrey Ramming, the Director of Communications. We'll be back right after the news. Stay with us.
You've been moving on. Let me know. Can I come along? Since you're gone, always been so long. On my own, my own, my own, my own. Living in the haze, staying in the shade. All I do is sit around and wait for better days. I could use a break. Can I get an amen?
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:25, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. We've got a weak cold front expected to skirt the extreme northwest Bahamas and increase rain chances across the area while high pressure dominates elsewhere today. Beachgoers should exercise caution due to the moderate risk of rip currents at east and south coast beaches. Boaters in the extreme northwest Bahamas should be alert for possible water spout activity as well. For today, for the northwest Bahamas, look for partly to mostly sunny and warm conditions with a chance of a few isolated showers and possible thunderstorms, mainly offshore, near the frontal boundary today. Mostly fair and mild with a chance of a few stray showers tonight. For the central and southeast Bahamas, mostly sunny, warm, and breezy with a chance of a few isolated showers. Mostly fair and breezy with a chance of a few passing showers tonight. Small craft caution remains in effect for the central and southeast Bahamas. Temperatures today getting up to around 88 Fahrenheit, 31 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 70 Fahrenheit, 21 Celsius. In your extended outlook, that cold front will meander across extreme northwest Bahamas through Friday before migrating northwards as a warm front. High pressure will then rebuild across the area before retreating eastwards ahead of another cold front that's expected to enter the northwest Bahamas on Sunday. So for tomorrow, Friday, partly to mostly sunny, breezy, and warm with a chance of a few isolated showers. Saturday, partly sunny, breezy, and warm with a few scattered showers. That's your morning blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. What's first for you comes first for us. And time for another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. It's looking pretty messy out there, folks. Got a lot of hot spots to tell you about. Usual ones, Mile Butler Highway, heavy traffic from Fire Trail all the way up to Tawny Williams Darling Highway this morning. Northbound lanes there. Gladstone Road also busy. Northbound from just north of Fire Trail all the way up to JFK Drive. We're also seeing heavy traffic on Blue Hill Road, especially north of Soldier Road in the northbound lanes to Independence Drive. Independence Drive backed up both directions, west and eastbound, between the two roundabouts there. And Carmichael Road's traffic eastbound from North Blue Hill Road and down to Coral Harbor Road. Pockets along Cowpen Road as well, eastbound mainly to the intersection with Faith Avenue. And then further east as you approach the intersection with Blue Hill Road and South Beach Road and Zion Boulevard. Elsewhere, we've got Eastern Road, heavy traffic just east of Fox Hill, westbound to Johnson Road, and pockets along Prince Charles Drive. Those are your hot spots for now. That's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The way I like it, love me or miss me when I'm buried deep. No matching tattoos and a used motorcycle, joy riding on someone else's street. Drug fuel, making mistakes with a young fool like me. You should go back home, back to school. I know your parents worry about you. All you get with me is blind white speed. I don't need no more.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. We're talking with Latrey Ramming, the Director of Communications in the Office of the Prime Minister, talking about what we've been hearing from the mid-year budget debate so far. And we're going to get into the 6 months in office for the Davis administration in just a bit. I want to talk about briefly what we've been hearing with the food task force there, especially with the salary for Susan Oloesco Larson, and what seems to be a surprise to so many. Some of these things are what we've been hearing various opposition parties, the members of the opposition, let's say it like that, have been complaining about with the Public Accounts Committee and not having access to information like this. And we keep hearing that from the leader of the pack, that there is little that's being done to support the committee with the information. Just having experienced this, Philip Davis, when he was the leader of the opposition, what is his administration now going to do about this so that we aren't caught off guard with things like this going forward?
Well, I think in a broad sense, the government has committed to strengthening the parliamentary institution. I know for certain both the Prime Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs are proponents of the institution. I think even as far as the government is now giving consideration to strengthening our parliament, the functions of our parliament, in a way of also committing to a new parliament as we approach our 50th anniversary. I think if you had recalled in August of last year, the Prime Minister, then as the chairman of the PAC, had written trying to acquire information around seeing the food program as well as the travel visa program that the government had instituted in the middle of the pandemic. So now we understand the importance of this committee. I think for certain that you have a Prime Minister who understands the importance of it and allowing the functions of Parliament to function in the required oversight.
Well, the previous Prime Minister said that as well, but here we are. So is there a timeline? Can we hold you to something there? What are we looking at?
I think certainly, I think the matter is just a cooperation. I think that this is just a matter of cooperation by the governing party. I don't think that we should ever use the former Prime Minister as a measuring stick for anything. So I think that's, he's, in my view, is an anomaly. But so we have persons who understand the conventions of Parliament and the norms, and that our democratic process requires the cooperation of two-party systems. And I think that in many ways, the former Prime Minister didn't appreciate some components or tenets of our democratic practice.
Mm-hmm. I want to move on. We don't have much time with you left, but I just want to ask you, there's been quite a bit said about the new protocols for COVID, managing COVID in the country, especially masks. We've had a lot to say about it on this show. And we're hearing some folks, including the former Minister of Health, Dr. Dwight Sands, talk about it as well, that what's being allowed for hotels is discriminatory, and that it's curious why this was allowed and everybody else is mandated to wear masks. Let's talk about that. What's going on here? Do you see this? Do you not see this as discriminatory? Why are we setting up two different systems here?
Well, I think one of the things that we have to add to the conversation is that, in COVID-19, different versions of public spaces carries different health risk. For example, in the situations of the hotel and resorts, tourists traveling to the Bahamas are required to do two things. One, they're required to test on entry. And secondly, they are required to test when they're leaving to going to their respective destinations. Is a higher probability that you are entering an environment that is highly tested, and where 98% of persons occupying that space are vaccinated. The hotel have a second tier of requirement of entry, where you are required to, as a local or as a guest, to enter the property with a test or proof of vaccination. So I think that you're talking about managing different components that carries different associated risks. I think you also must recall that the government had extended certain degree of flexibility in allowing, one, the increase of 300 persons on outdoor events you're now allowed to have regardless on the outdoor. So I think you're managing two different components insofar as evaluating or balancing the health risk associated to different activities. And if you look at the hotels, which is a highly tested environment, and where most of the occupants are either tested or are likely to be vaccinated, then the health rules will reflect differently. I don't think that there's going to be any effort to impose any discrimination, but that persons one of the things that we did promise as an administration, that we were going to allow more autonomy on the rules to be given by the health professionals. And for the most part, in many instances, there were no pressure by the political directorate to involve themselves in that process. And you've seen that with the carnival and the multiple concerts when there were a lot of public pressure on wanting those things to happen.
Mm-hmm. Are you having the discussion about eliminating masks entirely? We know it's happening all over the world. Where do things stand here? Is there something you're looking for where you're going to say, well, now it's only optional? If you want to wear a mask, you wear a mask.
Well, what I would say is this, that the government remain vigilant. Of course, you would see there are still the possibilities of further waves. I mean, currently now you're seeing some trends in in China and in some parts of Europe where they're seeing some spikes and surges. So you have to be vigilant. This is also a measured approach. We recognize that the majority of Bahamians have a COVID-19 fatigue. And I think persons want a mixture of restrictions and some flexibilities and freedom. I think that we have struck the right balance on and allowing masks to not be wearing outdoors. I think that we have some certain degree around social activities. So I think that we are moving in the right direction. Most certainly, I think that, we must have a larger conversation on how we exist in a new normalcy. But for now, we continue to live with COVID, and we have to look at this variable that the Bahamas have a very delicate healthcare system. We don't have a healthy, unlike our counterparts around the world that have the doctors and nurses, we have a very fragile system. And outside COVID-19 related incidents, we are a country with a high diseases around diabetes and hypertension. So there are likelihood of other health related issues, and we have to manage those circumstances.
But aren't all those reasons you just gave the reasons why we should still require masks in hotels?
Well, I think I spoke to the hotel variable. These are highly tested environments. They're vaccinated, and they're screening mechanism on two fronts, right? They're screening mechanisms for locals to come in to visit the hotel. They're screening mechanism and testing for the workers that are coming to the hotel, and there are testing mechanisms for the guests that are staying there. There's also a requirement for vaccination. Now, there are, I think that in itself lends to reason why this is a highly tested environment.
Mm-hmm. All right, 6 months. Can't believe it's been 6 months. We were just talking about 100 days a few days ago, but 6 months in office now. What are you seeing as reasons to be proud of for the work of the Davis administration so far at this point?
I think that, the government has really demonstrated its commitments to its blueprints. I think that we, from the beginning of the Prime Minister's speech from the throne, he recognized in order to improve the economy, you must first fix COVID-19. We've reached that commitment in strengthening our healthcare system with acquiring new nurses and health professionals, with doctors. We've ensured that healthcare professionals receive their back pay, and we're continuing to work along with the doctors to ensure that happened with them. We made our commitment on free testing. So we are satisfied on the COVID front, that we're moving to a point where businesses are opening up, kids are going back in the classroom. And so we're making progress on managing our COVID-19 effort. Like I say, we do remain vigilant on that front. But we recognize that we are battling 3 C's, COVID-19, the cost of living and crime. And so we are cognizant of that. We are also happy that we are re-invoking or re-strengthening or repositioning the Bahamas on the global scene. Regional politics, as you could see, that there is importance making sure that the Bahamas, through our diplomacy, ensure that our voice on global issues or regional issues are there. The former administration had a different approach when it comes to foreign policy. They didn't believe in traveling. They believe that that staying home is the best way to strengthen cooperation. We have a different approach. We believe that we have to go on the global scene and petition the heirs of the world that the Bahamas is open for business, that we do intend the whole country, advocate for countries who are huge emissions of pollutants on the fight of climate change. So we have a different focus. We're also looking at public sector reform through Minister Pierre Global. And it continues to be a critical priority for this administration to build a more robust and efficient public service. We're also looking at how we revitalize sports and tourism. That's a key component of this administration. We're also looking at, I think, our commitment on VAT, the reduction of VAT, and the need to that broader commitment. So I think we have demonstrated for the most part that we are committed to our blueprint. We are. These are examples that the government and this administration do intend to live up to its promises. We also look at how we can increase pensions in the public service. We provide a lump sum to unemployed individuals. And I think so. These are clear indications that I think one of the things that we are proud of the most outside, one of the things that we're proud of is how we've improved our communication with the Bahamian people and the relationship with the press. I know at many times there was some misinterpretation of those press policies, but I think for the most part, there are greater transparency that's happening. I think through our press secretary, Clint Watson, he has demonstrated that he wants to have a relationship with the media and the government. So I think kudos to him. I think now weekly, this is a more accessible government. We are not afraid of being scrutinized and being accountable to the Bahamian people, whether it's via press conferences. And we intend to be transparent. We intend to communicate more. And I think in the Prime Minister's national budget that is about 2 months away, there will be a firm vision that he intends to take our country on. For now, we continue to monitor events around the world that these external factors that are putting inward pressures on our domestic economy, what's happening in Ukraine, global supply shortages and supply chain gaps. And so I think we are looking at these, but I think that we will, for most certainly, there is a sense that there's a degree of movement from the stagnation. One of the things that we're also proud of as well, and proud of, and we are, and want to express disappointment on this front. Dorian, we have to speak to the fact that there was negligence, and now we are moving from negligence to progress. And I want to commend Minister Jobette Colby-Davis, who is currently building homes in Abaco. And this is 2 years later after Hurricane Dorian. So I think the government has a very robust home repair program and home construction program. I think these are all signs of the right direction.
We only have about a couple minutes left here. Just want to ask you, to those who are thinking, seeing what happens every time the administration changes, and what we learn and how people's finances or so much about their private lives are revealed, and they're skittish now, wondering, is it worth it to serve the country when your name is dragged through the mud and everything is aired for all to ridicule? What do you say to those who wondering if it's worth it at all?
Well, there's two things. There is the private sector and there's the public sector. When you decide to take a job in the public sector, you have to show you are by nature a part of government scrutiny. Public scrutiny is taxpayers' dollars, and there's a degree of accountability. When there are persons serving in critical government positions, you are open to oversight. There's no one is immune from accountability, and no one is immune for oversight once taxpayers' dollars are involved. If someone is in charge of a $53 million program, and one which that the government describes as historic spending, and that program subvert normal practices in public sector infrastructure, you can guarantee that there will be red flags. And when there are red flags in public funds, there's a responsibility that of that administration to let the Bahamian people know, and by virtue of Parliament, that something went wrong. So I think that my advice for persons who want to be in government and who want to avoid their name being aired in the public, to cross their T's and dot their I's. So in the eventuality that it may happen, they have nothing to hide.
Latrey Ramming. We're about to get into, we're doing Controversy Week all week on the show. And today we're talking about gun ownership and expanded handgun ownership that many Bahamians are calling for as a result of the crime situation in the country. What are your views, or what's the administration's views on that? You've been hearing the calls, I'm sure.
Well, let me just express my views. I don't know the extent to which the government has a position on the matter. I don't think that we have reached a situation where we all have to be armed. The Bahamas has two isolated situations. We have an influxation of illegal weapons on our street, and this is the challenge we have right now is a turf war with gangs. To the extent there is violent crimes committed against citizens that are not involved. I think there are some rare occasions where persons are caught in the crossfire, but I don't think that we've reached a point where we all have to bear arms. I continue to maintain confidence in the Royal Bahamas Police Force that they could provide a safe environment for the Bahamian people. Now, whether we look at a more liberal policies, if you're a business owner and you want to make sure that you protect yourself, I think that's something that we ought to give consideration to. But I don't think that we're to the point in our country where we all have to bear arms.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Latrey Ramming, for being here with us this morning. Great discussion, and we look forward to talking with you again. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
All right. We're going to take a break, and we're going to get into it. Controversy Week, gun ownership, expanded gun ownership in the country. What say you about this? We're going to start during this hour and take this into Morning Blend business, as business owners are among those who've been calling for easier access to this. What will that mean? What would that look like for the Bahamas? We have chaos, or would there be finally some easing of the tensions? Think about that. We'll get back to that after the break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Paying your share of the bill? Done! Music subscription? Renewed.
Hey, happy birthday.
Someone's birthday? Take care of it. Your life is online and so is your bank. With CIBC First Caribbean, there are many ways to send money. You can use FirstPay to transfer money to other CIBC First Caribbean clients instantly, like when you're splitting the dinner bill. And FirstSend lets you transfer funds internationally. You can even set up recurrent payments with our mobile app to pay subscriptions, rent, and bills. Choose the best in digital banking so you can live your best life. Best in digital banking based on number of products and services.
One thing there is no debate about is that BTC has the best rates. Now, the best rates just got better because you pay half the price of the other guys with your BTC home internet and mobile services combined. Switching to BTC is a no-brainer because I pay less with BTC and get super fast internet with speeds up to 600 megs. The other guys, their internet only go up to 105 megs.
Get all the internet you want at half the price when you bundle your home internet and mobile. Visit a BTC store to make the switch today. Conditions apply.
The Water and Sewage Corporation advises its customers in New Providence and the Family Islands that the corporation will commence mass disconnections beginning Monday, March 28, 2022, on all outstanding accounts and financial agreements. Customers who have not honored their financial agreements are advised to visit their local offices to update those agreements as soon as possible. And all customers are further advised to bring their accounts up to date to avoid the disconnection of their water and sewage services without further notice.
Sometimes getting a mortgage can feel overwhelming and like no one is listening.
With RBC by your side, moving your mortgage can be stress-free. Switch your mortgage to RBC and get more cash in hand, plus benefit from reduced rates, flexible terms, and the convenience of knowing we'll meet you almost anywhere. Pre-qualify to see what you can afford. Switch to rbc.com/Caribbean/mortgage switch. Limited time offer.
Around the world, Cleveland Clinic is recognized as a leader in healthcare. Our team of experts relentlessly pursues the best for our patients. From groundbreaking cancer research to state-of-the-art heart surgery, life-saving innovations happen here every day. When it's time to travel for your health, it's time to travel to Cleveland Clinic. Your destination for care, for every care in the world. To learn more, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Can't believe all the things people say. Controversy. Am I black or white? Am I straight? Okay. Controversy. Do I believe God? Do I believe me? Controversy. Controversy.
We're back here with Morning Boom Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner on this Thursday morning. It's first week all week long on Morning Blend. Today, day 3. We're talking about expanded gun ownership. More and more people are for the public to have access to handguns. Cries often every time there's somebody held up and robbed. Somebody says, well, this only is happening because we're not allowed, well, not easily allowed to carry handguns. And so we are sitting ducks while the bad guys are all well armed and taking advantage of the situation. Their rationale is that if they don't know, if they have to guess whether you could be somebody who's armed, they would be less likely to hold you up and rob you. Of course, on the other side, then you're saying, well, if that's the case, we'll just have more shootouts and more people getting hurt or killed. What say you on this? What difference will it make? Would it make you feel safer, and would you really be safer? Or are we only opening the door for more people to get hurt, children to stumble across a gun? And we've heard all the horror stories. What are we looking at there? Let's get your views on it. Laverne, callers, let us know. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796.
I lean towards what Latre said. I don't believe that we need to be a more armed society. I know that crimes exist and there are criminals who have illegal firearms. I don't know if us arming ourselves is the solution to violent crimes. So,
I think everyone who listens to the show regularly will know that I think the idea of guns, all of them, shotguns, handguns, rifles, whatever they are, abhorrent, just ridiculous, and that cannot, So that's a big no for me, and we need to crack down on the guns that are coming in the country, absolutely. But bigger than that, we have to find what is creating this giant appetite for guns.
Right.
Why so many people feel they have to have an illegal firearm and be armed and strapped and all of that, and especially get this love of guns. And if you don't believe there is, talk to your sons, talk to your young kids. They know them. They know them all. They know what they're called. They can identify them. They love. This is a gun-loving culture almost as big as what the U.S. obsession there. Ask around.
Well, like I said, I don't see. Someone would need to explain to me how it would help.
Yeah. Well, we've got some
people were armed. How would this help? We talk about having a violent society. Would it be a situation where then that becomes the, solution? You have a disagreement and everybody pulls out a weapon. May sound ridiculous to some, but it may happen, could happen. I don't know.
It's happening now. It's happening now.
I just don't see that as being helpful.
How many times have you heard it? They were playing games under a tree and something happened. There was a disagreement. Someone pulled out a gun or left and came back with a gun. So let's not pretend that we won't have situations where people are driving, you get cut off, and that person chases after you and tries to shoot at you or threaten you at least with the gun.
What would be the parameters that you would be able to apply and be granted a license? Are we just saying just carte blanche, everybody, anybody? Are we saying only people who are registered having viable businesses? What is the thought process behind it?
And businessmen can get handguns now. Is that right? And there is a process for that. But people are saying expand it. Let's hear what you have to say. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning. We can hear you.
And good morning to the lady from the north. You know, Dwight, now you know how I feel about this. You know how I feel about it. I'm a small businessman, and I just be in out every day. All ain't bad, but all it needs to be so. See, you got to protect yourself. If you can't protect you and your family, because right now, how this country running now, we ain't got no country. People go in jail, shoot you, kill your family, get bail, come out, kill the rest. No, the law, either that or they got to put heavy step penalties on these guys with these guns. And it seems to me as if once you get money in this country, you can buy anything. Look like to me. See, Dwight, and this is one of the reasons why I tell you, this is one of the reasons why I keep telling you guys, all the referendum will fail. For example, we can't go in the casino and gamble. That's better discriminating law. I heard you talk about the mask wearing in the whole. All that is discriminating though. That's why we are the laughing stock of the Caribbean. Everybody be laughing at us. Everybody be laughing at us. And not the change, right? I tell you again, and tell that most school and tell all of them get retired. Because they don't like me, they don't like you, they don't like my children. They fail us miserable. Right. Thanks for taking my call.
Okay. All right. Let's keep the views coming. 323.
So what is that, like kill or be killed?
That sounds like it. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. What say you on expanded gun ownership? I know people keep saying it's for qualified individuals. I don't know what that means, right? For people who
what
pass the
what are the qualifications?
Respectable, decent people. That sounds like. But yeah, what does that mean? What does that mean? This message here: most behaviors are emotional, impulsive, reactionary, and lack communication, problem solving, and conflict resolution skills. This is a recipe for disaster. Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better myself. That's what I'm thinking. And then, you remember that video just a few weeks ago, the guy's coming home and he's ambushed by two men. He's pleading. The entire video is very long. He's pleading, begging for his life. He says, please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. I got my family inside. Please don't kill me. And he's saying it over and over while they, go through his pockets and they take everything. And immediately the response, so many people, see, this is why we need more guns. Like, that man couldn't have done anything if he had a gun. He wouldn't have had time to reach for it. And if he did, he was going to get killed. They did leave him. They did leave him, and he ran inside his house. But had he had a gun, that wasn't going to end like that.
Yeah,
and
that might have had a different ending.
Very different. And this is right. And no, it's not fair that they have, the criminals have this upper hand, and it's not fair. But this is not the way to counter this. This will only lead to disaster. But defend it. Say, let's hear. Let's get your views. What are you saying? Tell us what you think. I'm getting some of your text messages. Somebody says here, if citizens shouldn't have the right to bear arms, then lawmakers shouldn't have police protection, seeing that our country is so secure. That really makes sense to you, Texter? Yeah, come on now.
Yeah, we're just being ridiculous now.
Come on.
We are certainly not saying that this country is so safe and secure. We're just saying, how does widening the scope of people who can carry firearms help to prevent some of the violence that we're experiencing now, how is it going to impact that? That's what we're saying, right? We're not sitting here with rose-colored glasses on thinking and saying, oh, this is just completely safe. You can sleep with your door open. No. We're just saying, questioning if that is a solution.
Let's get this call in here. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Hi, doing well. Good morning.
All right. Morning to you and guests. First of all, yes, put this point out there that handguns are not illegal. Handguns are offered to an elite set of individuals in the Bahamas, depending on your favorite, how favored the government or the commission of police who is in charge of firearms.
Well, I mean, elite is right, but I don't know if what you that last part you added is correct. But some people, you can apply and the police will investigate. They will go and interview people about you. There's a process.
I'm talking about handgun, Dwight.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. There's a process.
Yeah. See, the process is you could apply, but you will not get it unless you are elite. That's simple, right? So I had a discussion with the former DP. And I asked them, would they consider that people who collect BOT get a private firearm? Because I asked them if we were to get robbed and our funds robbed with us and we have a police report, who is then responsible? The government, would the government write that off, or we have to return that as it was robbed from us? And he said, we'll have to return that, right? So I'm saying that business owners who collect BOT should be allowed to protect themselves. One, that's my first point, because we collect for the government. Two, my next point is that 9 times out of 10, the people sees the crime before the police do. Police are reactive. So it's not that it's a lawless society. It's that we could bring some defense to help the police in curbing crime.
So what are you saying? That if we see a crime that as citizens we should pull out our gun and do what needs to be done?
Yeah, Dwight. That it's in a hostile environment, right? But we could assist prior to the police coming there, because we could follow, we could actually assist in many ways. Just as you do your research on the internet, you'll find that citizens help policemen in the United States by having concealed weapons. All right? And then 3, crime, my opinion is that crime is under control because the criminals have to provide the public in fear. So let's look at it like this. If you were allowed to have private firearms or concealed weapons, right? The criminals would be free to bring out their weapons. The policemen will usually catch these criminals in the act because they think that they could get by with the people who are have a concealed weapon. That's just my thought.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You bring up an interesting point. We're going to talk about that on the other side. We've seen those videos before, right? Somebody comes in and tries to rob a store, and there's a customer in there who's armed, and that often diffuses the situation. We can discuss that some more after the break. Keep your texts coming and your calls. We're going to pick this up in Morning Blend Business in just a few after the news break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio.
Does your daddy cry? Controversy. Controversy. Do I believe God? Do I believe me?
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
on this Thursday, March 17th, 2022. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner, and we continue our Controversy Week series. Today, we are talking about gun ownership, expanding handgun ownership in the country. Many are calling for it as a result of some recent crimes, many people being held up at gunpoint. And the common cry is that if some of our citizens could, or more of our citizens can be armed, that we'd have fewer of these incidents. Many disagree, but we want to hear from you about this. What say you? We've been having a great discussion so far this morning. Want to continue to have that. You can call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us 422-4796. We're talking about it, continuing this business hour, because a lot of business owners are saying that they need the added protection. It isn't easy right now. You can get permission to have a handgun, but it's a process. As you heard a previous caller say, well, I guess he was suggesting that there's some major flaws in the process, some major biases in the process there. But we do know that if you do apply and you meet the criteria, there is it a psychological evaluation? But they certainly do. The police send around officers who interview colleagues. I guess you give them a list, and they interview them to see if you would consider the person to be in the right frame of mind, capable of being able to handle having a handgun.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
that's necessary. If this is what you're doing, then I think that part of it is 100% necessary.
Sure, but do the people they ask, because you provide them with the names, do the people tell the truth? Like, that nut? Really? They want a gun? Oh, gosh. Or do they say, that's my boy. Yeah, he's great. Yeah.
Immediately when the person says, yeah, that's my boy, he's great, I'm going to say, okay, that's enough. That's enough.
Oh, boy. All right, let's get, you might be onto something there. You might be onto something there. All right, so let's hear what you have to say. We're getting quite a few of your text messages. This person says here, quite a few on this. Please don't let your personal preference skew the conversation on this matter. The issue in this country is illegal guns, not the thousands of legal guns already here. We need the laws to be updated for gun owners to be able to protect themselves, family, and property from criminals. Yep. Well, we want to hear from you all. We want to hear from everybody on this, and how this will happen if there are more guns. How we'll be able to better protect yourselves, and not accidentally hurt somebody who was not trying to do anything, or get yourself killed because you just took things up another level by presenting a gun. Right? Yeah, you can't walk around with your shotgun, so no one's going to know whether you have one. But once you pull that out, as opposed to what we've seen, where you just rationally try to calm the person down, but once you bring that out there, you're prepared, right? You are clearly prepared for something, and these folks have shown they are as well. So we've just taken this to a OK Corral type situation. No. Maybe you don't see it that way. But let's hear what this caller has to say. Good morning. Welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight and Laverne. How are you doing?
Doing well. Good morning.
All right. Good morning. Good morning to me. I'd like to make a couple of points again, one or two on this gun control model. From a friend.
You're breaking up. What's happening?
And that one minister that he made in your news.
I'm not sure what's happening, Anton. We can barely hear you. What's going on?
Quite clearly. Are you able to hear me, Dwight?
That's better now. Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to make a couple comments on the gun control model, and then as well as what the Prime Minister said in Parliament yesterday.
We can only do. We're short on time. We can only do the gun matter. Only the gun matter. At this moment, we've moved on from that. We gotta go. Let's go. Are you there? Are you there? No? Okay. All right. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us. This person says, if criminals are different from law-abiding citizens, my house was broken into. My husband met the intruder coming up the stairs. He went for the shotgun, which was not loaded, but was enough to scare the intruder. The police said it was good. It was not loaded because it's not a good feeling when you shoot a person and possibly kill them. So having a weapon has its cons as well. Well, it was very interesting of the police to say that. Okay. But that's an interesting story. That's an interesting story. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Glenn.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
We always talk about the guns and stuff like that. Well, gun is gun, and I always, whenever I hear about gun, I think about national service, because what national service does, it makes that gun responsible. It makes it disciplined. In matter of fact, it disciplines the person that is using it. If when we come out of high school or when we reach the age of 18 or 21, and we go into the national service, then our thoughts are taught and we think differently because we're being disciplined about it. We don't take the fear of it and use it against our citizens. Okay, it teaches us how to love our country, take care of our country, and defend our country. But no government has been brave enough to do national service. Okay. We must love our country that much. We must love our children that much. And there is a discipline, okay, and a love for country. Thanks for letting me share.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. You can do that without expanding handgun ownership and access, right? No? Okay, maybe. Anyway, here's a text message. How should this be addressed? We should address this from both sides. I think they're trying to say prevention and protection. Fix the illegal guns with fines and longer jail time for offenders, but laws that allow licensed owners to protect their house and property as well. Okay. This person says, so the justification of many why we should not be armed is because of the numerous guns owned by the gangs. Shouldn't that alone be the reason for us to be armed? But this country is run by the Christian Council, bleeding hearts, and girly men politicians. The real men are dead. Yeah, they're probably shot. Anyway.
There's so much wrong.
Every part of it.
With that text. So if you do not support, as a male, if you do not support the expansion of the rules in terms of citizens being able to bear arms, you are a girly man. Okay.
Let's see what this caller has.
Term is.
Let's see what this caller has to say. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Okay. I think we have another one. Is that another one there? No? Yes, I hear something. No. Okay. But the justification of why we should not be armed is because there was guns owned by gangs. But that's not what we were saying. We're just saying that more guns won't solve the problems, and you just will end up with more shootouts, more than likely. I know people are going to say that's not what happens in some part of Europe, but it certainly is what happens in the U.S., which plenty of people here are trying very hard to copy and emulate the way Americans live every single part of their lives. So anyway, people are not asking, this is a text, people are not asking for everyone to be armed. People are asking for responsible people to be armed legally. Yes, they are. Now, what is responsible? Exactly. Who is responsible? The rich person? As that previous caller said, the elite, who will be? Will it be all the Eastern Road people, all the West Bay Street people, all the people in the hotels? Who are we talking about here? Who will be determined to be the responsible people?
What makes you responsible, And if you do this, does everyone, in order to be approved, let's go back to psych evaluation. Are we going to do that? And I don't mean a reference from a friend.
And if we're going to do this, can we have psych evaluations for when people want to have children? Because I think that'll be good. This
Well,
one
we're
here.
not talking about that
But I think we need to talk
today,
about it. We need to talk about it.
but we're
need to
not
talk
talking about that controversy.
A psych evaluation for everything. Everything. This one here, too many guns. So what are we going to do? Shoot each other for fun? Well, this is the beginning. The roosters are coming home to hatch. They're coming home to hatch. Well, okay. Anyway, we know what you mean. We know what you mean. Anyway, unless we start to deal with the root of the issue, we will continue to have people slaughtered in our streets. Yes, absolutely. This text here, there is social disorder in the Bahamas. It's going to take years to correct this, but we must start now. All right, what does that mean? Start now with what? More people being armed or getting to the root of the problem, which will take years, as that previous texter says, years to address. Is the gun issue another Band-Aid solution? Hey, things are dangerous, so you all better have guns, as opposed to getting to the root of the problem.
Right. We can't handle crime. We can't seem to get a handle on crime. So we want all of the law-abiding citizens,
responsible
one, to be armed.
Yep. This text here, to get a conceal and carry permit in the U.S., you must have a psychological exam, proper training with gun. The same thing can apply here. Yeah, people have said that before. We need a shooting range, and people come and and practice, and so you can be, good at what you need to do. Yep. I just need to take out more insurance on people. This one says here 323-623. Oh, this is the number 323-62. I'm distracted.
It's like what?
323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us 422-4796. This person says here that I think you are missing the point. We have over 30,000 shotguns licensed in the Bahamas, Jamaica and Belize, two of the places I've worked and live. Citizens can carry licensed handguns. We are more than 90% right-thinking people. But we're being held hostage by 10% of criminals. 90%. And right-thinking people, you need to bring some receipts for this one. It might be the other way around. I think it might be 90% criminals and 10% right-thinking people. This is a conversation that needs some movement. Widening the scope helps the responsible, trained citizens to be afforded the opportunity to protect life and property rather than remain sitting ducks. For criminals, you guys need to get into the 21st century with your thinking. That's interesting. I mean, it sounds like you're in the 19th century with your thinking, where everybody's armed. Okay. Well, but everything you said is right. You are right. We need to widen the discussion. We have to think about this. I personally think there's another way around it, but it will take longer. This is fast action, though. You can kill off all the criminals while we then try to deal with why they wanted to have guns in the first place. But most of what you're saying, I do agree. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Hi.
Interesting conversation. Just make a quick contribution. As far as who can qualify to get this license handgun, right? Are we going to give license handgun to men, especially who are not responsible and taking care of their kids, or the females who not responsible and taking care of their children, or the business owners who don't pay the national insurance for their employees, or who don't pay their employees? I mean, we keep using this word responsible. What would be the criteria for being responsible? You could just look on the street. We have license to drive vehicles, right? And you see how people is be driving a vehicle, which is also a weapon on the streets in New Providence, especially every day. I don't think we need to arm the majority of our citizens, because a gun only could help you. If somebody get the jump on you with a gun, look how many policemen get killed in the United States every month, and they have weapons. Every month, a police officer, or week in the United States, a police officer get killed, and they taking weapons. I mean, we're making it seem like these weapons is a panacea to keeping us safe. If you have a handgun and the person get a jump on you, bro, Either it could be you going for a quick draw, and then what could happen when all the criminals know that everybody else got a gun? They just could be trying to break in your house and you gotta steal your gun, right? So that's another problem.
Wow.
So I don't agree with we need a bunch of handguns around the street in New Providence. And as a person who's been legally trained in the use of firearms, I really don't think we need that. We need to get to the root problem, which starts in the home. We keep ducking that because if we have a household full of weapons and we get just look at how people is driving the streets. They ready to tear your head off because they feel like they should be in front of you. So imagine the road rage in the States with weapons being fired at one another in the highway, especially in South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't agree with who could be the business people, what we call responsible business people.
That's what we want to know.
Because you have a business and you're making a lot of money, but are you paying your national insurance? Are you paying your staff what they supposed to be paid? Does that make you responsible?
This is a wonderful call. I'm going to save it. Whenever anybody says anything, we're going to play what you said. But I appreciate you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you. I hope people are listening to that. But they're going to say things like this. 2,500 police officers, 70% of which are overweight or out of shape, can't police 380+ thousand sitting ducks. Well, please stop with this liberal speech. Okay. All right. This text here, making it easier for people with clean police records and of sound minds to have guns will not be the answer for the crime problem. However, it can increase government revenue. Oh, my goodness. Currently, many Bahamians own licensed firearms. I am one. And what we know is that just because you have a firearm and you are threatened, it does not allow you to use it. The law is not that understanding. All right. Yeah, sure. But I mean, to do this, to even suggest it just to do it for increased government revenue, that's so disturbing. So disturbing. But the other points are correct and right and sound. Yeah. But that's scary. Another one here. We brought back Acting Commissioner Fernando, and it seems as if crime is on the rise. No, don't do that. That's not fair. That's not fair at all. Come on now. Come on. Crime's on the rise based on what? Those 2 years during the pandemic? Or are you looking at it in the year before the pandemic? So, But and crime would be on the rise because we've not done anything to get to the root on why it was so high in the first place. That's not what we do. We talk a lot and we apply the Band-Aids liberally. I don't even know if we wipe off the wound with anything. Just put a Band-Aid on the festering, bloody, pussy boil and just say, oh, well. Okay. This one here, criminals are, I think you read this already. Was it?
That was graphic.
Imagine a scene where someone's just been shot. Talk about graphic. This person here says, Dwight, I work in an environment where armed officers are present out of necessity. Now I see I'm not sure what they're saying, but when I leave, some words are missing, but I think they're saying that they feel that they need personal protection when they leave work. All right. Oh, they sent it again. So maybe this is it. I work in an environment where armed officers are present out of necessity. Now I feel pretty safe on the job. But when I leave or I'm not at work, there is another feeling. Sometimes I feel I need personal protection. Do you think having a gun is going to make you feel that much safer? Maybe it will. But this one says here, everyone should not have a gun, but responsible citizens, I think we read this already, should be, we read that already. Constant and comprehensive training is important. Let's take this call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning. How you doing?
Doing well.
All right. How many firearm licenses do we have in the Bahamas today?
No clue.
All right. We would say thousands, right?
Probably. Shotguns and some handguns.
Yeah. Do you hear about those persons who have firearms being hauled before the court because they're using their firearms indiscriminately?
We hear of a lot of people who
I've
have
never heard
been...
of one person who have a licensed firearm firearm went before the court because he just went out there wildly and started shooting up the place and stuff like that. Those persons, they are responsible people. They go to get their license every year, responsible gun license holders. So they're the person who the police force deemed to be responsible. They call it before the last. I don't hold water because he mixing apples with oranges because he talking.
Now remember, most of those would be for shotguns.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's firearm. It's still a firearm. It's still a deadly weapon.
But we're talking about handgun ownership, and of course you can easily conceal a handgun.
I'm just saying that those persons who have the shotgun, if they have a handgun, it still won't make any difference because I have a shotgun, and by me holding a handgun, that's not going to make me go there and start shooting up the place for what? That don't make sense to me.
But that's not quite what we're saying either.
So I'm saying when they talk about being responsible, persons who have a shotgun are responsible, and I had that for years. They just got a shotgun and they start shooting up the place, going out the place, doing bullshit.
Nobody's saying
I know
that.
the guidelines. I know the law.
Sir, nobody's saying that, and you're bringing in something that's totally different from what we're talking about. People are saying that if they're in a situation where they are held up or feeling threatened, that if they had their handgun, that they would be able to better diffuse the situation, control the situation. It wouldn't be at the mercy of the criminals. Now, having to go into your house and unlock your case and get your shotgun, this is a totally different situation. That's not going to...
But guess what? Most persons who have shotgun don't have it in a case. They travel with it in their vehicle. Most people who have shotguns, they have a case, but they don't travel with that in the case. Most people have their shotgun with them. And they don't go there and situations happen. They don't, first thing they do is run for their shotgun. That don't happen.
So these people are not robbed. They're not held up at gunpoint.
But if they rob and they can defend themselves,
But when they're at the ATM.
Just how you have to go and reach for a shotgun, you have to go and reach for your handgun. Same thing. Because some element of surprise. If someone comes to you, you could say before you do it. But you're not going to do it exactly what you say you're going to do. Because you don't know the circumstance and situation at the time. So, it's good to say we're going to do this, so we're going to pull a shotgun because we have it tucked in our waist or whatever. But if someone comes to you, you don't know how they're going to come to you. You need to do that if they plan and you know exactly what they're going to do. So we can say all kind of hypothetical things what we will do. But until that situation happens, we frozen. You don't know what's going to happen.
I think you might have just supported the argument against expanded gun ownership, but okay. But thank you very much. Appreciate it. This person says here, as we only have a couple more minutes on this, we got to move on. This person says here, I don't support regular citizens carrying guns, but why would the police tell the person it was good his gun wasn't loaded, so it would have been okay for him to get killed? I don't think that's what they're saying. It's just that they're saying that it would have been hard for him to have killed that person, that it would have been very difficult for him going forward. Right? You just don't do that and go to sleep and carry on as if nothing happened. And to live with the idea, right? That it was better that the man ran away instead of someone getting hurt, because it was going to be difficult for everybody involved going forward. Okay, I think people that have shotgun permits currently and in the past should be given permits to carry handguns. This person says the people of Ukraine didn't want any guns until Russia was on their doorstep. Then you had grandmas learning to use a gun. There are ways to do responsible gun ownership. Start with homeowners to protect their property. This text here, the responsible citizens are the same 1,000 that presently own legal firearms. There's so much ignorance being displayed on this show by callers. There are already stringent requirements in place for persons to be provided with licenses. Okay. Great show, as usual. Can the producer end the show with the song Wild Wild West by Will Smith, please? Producer, if you can find that, that's a good one. This one says here, a lot of people being murdered every year. Why do all governments take so long to put laws in place to protect citizens? Would this be one of those? Is that what you're saying? Okay. All right. And let's take this call really quickly. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Good morning, caller. Hi, good morning.
Hello.
Hi, you're on the air.
Yes, I was calling to say that shotguns that are issued in this country are issued for sport. You don't get shotguns for protection. The only people who get shotguns for protection are the armored car people. I was in charge of that department on the post. Now, as far as the small arms are concerned, the application is made, it has to come through the police. They make the recommendation, it goes to the cabinet. Now, very few people in this country get small arms. The banks don't want it. They had it, then they give it up. The casinos don't want it. Now, I believe that if we arm, first of all, the United States, people carry arms. You could buy a gun in the United States like you buy a pair of shoes. And look how much crimes they are having because of these same guns. They're now trying to change their system to come back to something like ours, where there has to be an investigation. Now, qualification. We cannot say that we're going to give the high-profile person in business a gun when most of the victims are the people over the hill in the convenience stores who are the ones that really need the gun. So I don't see us changing because I think it would be a disaster if we decide to open up for small arms that people can carry. You go walking down Bay Street, fellow carrying his firearm in his waist because he needs protection. What we are having now has nothing to do with the average citizen who is a decent, law-abiding citizen. The people who are victims of these murders, they know, and there are reasons why they are being targeted. And they get careless. And if I know that a person is being targeted, I don't want to be sitting outside playing dominoes with him or sitting in a car with him.
Yep.
And we got to think deeply. We cannot allow everybody in this country to have access to guns. And those people with the shotguns shouldn't be carrying the shotguns in their cars.
That's crazy.
The shotgun is given to them for sport. That's the application. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. We have to have you on the show. You're a wealth of knowledge, sir. We're going to have you on shortly to talk about all of these issues and more. But, folks, this is a great start to this conversation. We clearly need to do a part 2 on this, and we'll get some guests in as well on this. But thank you all so much. Tomorrow, more, as we wrap up Controversy Week, we're going to be talking about that issue with sex workers and prostitution and more that came out of that forum tomorrow on the show. We're going to take a break. When we come back, changing gears entirely, we're talking with Rev Cable Bahamas. They are talking about the connected home and something that we should all be thinking about as well. That's after the break. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Step will flex and get a hole in your side. Swallow your pride. Don't let your lip react. You don't want to see my hand where my hip be at. With Artemis from the start of this. Running the game. James West. Taming the West. So remember the name. Now who you gonna call? Not the GB. Now who you gonna call? G-W-G. If you ever riff with either one of us, break out before you get bum rushed at the Wild Wild West. When I roll into the Wild Wild West. When I stroll into the Wild Wild West. When I bounce.
Let Wendy's heat up your morning. Wake up with our new Hot Honey Chicken Biscuit that is forged in flavor and made fresh every morning just for you. Forged from a fusion of sweet honey and spicy heat. Wendy's new Hot Honey Chicken Biscuit is our breaded premium all-white chicken breast topped with habanero honey, served on a fresh-baked buttermilk biscuit. It offers the perfect balance of sweet heat. Better mornings always start at Wendy's.
One thing there is no debate about is that BTC has the best rates. Now, the best rates just got better because you pay half the price of the other guys with your BTC home internet and mobile services combined. Switching to BTC is a no-brainer because I pay less with BTC and get super fast internet with speeds up to 600 megs. The other guys, their internet only go up to 105 megs.
Get all the internet you want at half the price when you bundle your home internet and mobile. Visit a BTC store to make the switch today. Conditions apply.
Fidelity, we're good for you. We believe in relationship banking. We take pride in getting to know our clients. You have access to knowledgeable, approachable ambassadors and financial coaches so that we can recommend the best product for you. At Fidelity, we care about you. From your financial health to your physical health, we can relate to you because we're just like you. Come and start your relationship banking experience with us today. Visit us online at fidelitygroup.com. Visit any of our branches in Nassau or Grand Bahama, or phone 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 for Freeport.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
Another summer day has come and gone away from Paris or Rome, but I wanna go home. Maybe surrounded by.
We are back here with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. And this morning we are talking with Rev Cable Bahamas. They have a special webinar on the connected home coming up, and they're going to tell us all about that this morning. We're very pleased to welcome Colette Godfrey and Danielle Smith. Great to have you with us. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, guys. How are you?
We're doing well. We're doing well. Hope the same for you all. All right. So what are we talking about when we say the connected home? What exactly do we mean?
So I'll start off with the overall coverage of what connected home is, and then I'll allow Colette to jump in and just let you guys know exactly what Rev's role is in this webinar. Okay. So the connected home is based around home ownership and how we can assist in helping you build a smart home. So the way forward right now is not only to own a home, but how you can protect your investment. So Rev has partnered with some of the industry's veterans to bring you that knowledge so that you can build those smart homes that you need and have the protection that you need when you put all of your funds into your homes. So we have a well-rounded group of panelists. We have the Minister of Health and Transport, who is Mr. Strobet Colby, on our panel. We also have Mr. Matt Sweeting. He is the CEO and owner of One Oak Bahamas. And we also have Mr. Frannon Wilson, who is the president of Outlook Homes, as well as our very own Chief Information Officer, Mr. Dwayne Davis.
Okay, all right, that's great stuff. We're hearing so much about smart homes, and it's much deeper than a smart doorbell. But yeah, tell us some more about some of the components of smart home and what we're looking at as the trends now and likely trends in the future.
So, Dwight, what we want persons to know, basically, is Rev has partnered with these persons in order for us to leverage some of the things that we have today that enables a smart home. So you have certain things like the smart doorbell, you have your Wi-Fi router, you have your lights, you have all of these things that need a connection. And what Rev provides is that connection between all of those smart devices that need to talk to you in order for you to keep your home safe. And what we have done is we've done this webinar because we have a gateway that allows you to connect your devices to Rev's internet. And that gateway would be the Eero device. We do have the Eero device today, and it's a very popular device because it acts as that hub in order for you to connect all of your devices, in order for them to talk to you. We do have a plan that's called Trio Plus that also has that Eero device included for $129 to date. And what we do include in that is additional channels. We increase your speed because, of course, the connected home needs more speed. So we provide customers with 100 megabits. And what we have also done is the Eero mesh that we've added. Some of the things that you can do with that Eero mesh would be to improve the coverage in your home. You know, a lot of persons may have big homes when they have the smart home. So you may have a 2-story home and you can have your internet upstairs. And then you can have that same internet connectivity downstairs, because what the Eero device provides is 2 devices that one you can have upstairs and the next you can have downstairs. And then we're also in a environment where we have a hybrid situation. Persons are going back to school now, but there are still persons that work from home as well as they learn from home on some days. And then we know kids are very clever. When you have kids that want to play Roblox or Fortnite in the middle of their classes, the Eero device actually allows you to block those things during certain times.
Oh, wow.
So you can block those websites and those URLs and those IPs that allow you to go onto gaming sources during school hours. You can create certain profiles for certain persons. So if you have a computer or if you have a TV that's connected to one of the devices that you have with Eero, you have the ability to block those particular devices in that room from those items instead of blocking everybody. So you can create a profile with the Eero device. And that's what we talk about when we talk about a connected home. So we're still connected, but we have the ability to control the way that we connect and control how other persons connect around us when it comes to our Wi-Fi, because we paid for it. We used our money.
That is right.
We paid for it. So we need to control the way that we use that connected internet that we have in our home. And that's the reason why we've chosen these panelists, because we've realized that these veterans that we have today are all persons that understand why a smart home and a connected home is very important for us today. We're moving in a very, very fast-paced world, and we need to be able to keep up with the times. So that's why we're introducing this webinar on March 22nd with our panelists.
Safety and possibly saving money as well.
Yes.
Right. I think we have parents who they're just lining up now that they know that they have a way that they can
these options. Yeah.
Yes.
They're like, I don't care about the rest. I'm on board. I'd like to have that.
Yes. And the thing about it is that if you have broadband services with us today, you can actually get the Eero device for $10 a month. It's not even that expensive. In order for you to do all of that, you have broadband and TV today. You can add that Eero device for $10 monthly, no security deposit, and you have the ability to control exactly what you can do with that Wi-Fi mesh device.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. It connects my doorbell. It connects the TVs. I have the ability to block a TV from having Wi-Fi if I want them to be off of their TV at a certain time. So it's awesome for me because I get to control who has my password. I can change my password at my fingertips because there's an interactive app. So there's a lot of things that we offer as a part of that subscription. And Rev wants to make sure that we all understand how we can keep up with the times, because some of us may not be able to keep up with the times as fast as possible. So we're just trying to make sure it's easy for everybody.
Everything changes every week, it seems.
Yes.
All right. So if you already have Trio, how does it work if you want to get the Trio Plus and get the Eero device? How quickly can you get that rolling?
So what you have to do is call in 601-8992. And our reps will easily upgrade you to Trio Plus if you already have Trio. You want all of that included. You want the increased speeds. You want the increased channels, and then Eero is already in there in that 129, so there's no additional cost. For customers that also want the Eero devices outside of Trio, they have the ability to just sign up for the Eero device by calling 601-8992 or visit any one of the Alive stores, because obviously we do have that partnership with the Alive stores to have the ability to purchase the devices in those Alive stores. So you can visit any one of our Alive stores as well and say, hey, I heard about the Eero. I want the Eero. How can I get it? And you can get that device via the Trio Plus plan, which is $129, and then you can also get it by itself if you so desire for $10 monthly.
And I know you've said before that it's easy to set up. Anyone can do it. But if you're concerned that your devices may not sync up, I mean, is there technical assistance if there is a problem?
Yeah, so interestingly enough is that whenever you pick up the Eero device, you automatically get a text from one of our reps asking, hey, is everything okay? Did you connect all of your devices well? Is there anything I need to help with? So we won't even give you a chance to say that I'm having an issue.
Wow. Okay.
So they'll call you and say, hey, are you having any issues? And you just let them know whatever issues you're having, because as soon as you pick up and you walk out of that store, they have you logged. They give you about a day or two to connect the device. And once you've gotten that within a day or two, they have the ability to contact you. It could be via text or call, and they ask you, are you having any issues? And that's one of the things that we want to make sure that what you mentioned doesn't happen for customers to have a struggle in terms of connecting. But it literally takes about 10 minutes, guys. It's the longer it takes, that means the more devices you have. But it literally takes about 10 minutes, and you can actually share the password to different devices without having to do anything else.
Excellent stuff. All right, so I want to get some more details about the webinar in just a bit, but I have to ask this. The last time we had somebody from Rev Cable Bombs on, Laverne and I got very excited. I think you were on with me, Laverne, when they talked about the All Access, NBA All Access experience. Is that still going on? Can you still?
Yes, it's still going on. So we have our webinar on March 22nd at 6:30. And persons can sign up, register. We had one winner already for the NBA All Access. You can visit our social media page, and they actually have a spiel of things. They went horseback riding. They met DeAndre Ayton on the court. They were in the VIP section. That was Phoenix. So we have another winner that's also going to win. That's going to Boston.
Okay.
And they're going to experience the same things that our first customer would have experienced. So we're very excited to see exactly who that person is, because we want to go with them, even though we can't go with them. So we want to take that journey, and we want to go with them and see exactly what persons are experiencing, because of course, not only do you get to go to the game, but they treat you to an all access cultural experience of the area or the country that you're going in. So that's some of the things that we want persons to do. And of course, in order for you to get that, you have to either sign up for Trio Plus or the Eero devices that come with so many benefits. So it's like a win-win situation, because you get your Eero device, you have the ability to control your smart home, and then of course you have the ability to go to Boston to watch.
So there's still time for me. I mean, our listeners, one of our listeners, right? to win this. If you sign up.
The ability, once you sign up, you have the ability to also enter to win.
What's the deadline?
So the deadline is this week. This week is the final deadline.
All right. So
for you to sign up for Trio Plus and Eero. So we'll pick the winner next week.
All right.
So anybody who wants to do it, please sign up this week, because this week is the last week. It's time sensitive because the games are a certain date.
Yes.
So we have to pick the winner in time to make sure that you are able to go. So persons that sign up do have to be fully vaccinated. That's a requirement to make sure that everybody's safe. So not only is your home safe, but your health is safe. So we just want to make sure that everybody understands that as well.
All right. So we got a couple questions here on text line. People asking about how safe if the devices like Eero can guard against hacking. And
yes, it can.
Yep. Okay.
Interestingly enough, the app will tell you suspicious websites that were connected on your Wi-Fi network. It will let you know. It lets you know peaks and lows of using the Wi-Fi network. So it will tell you suspicious items, and it will also tell you items that were blocked.
Okay.
So it actually does act as a firewall in a sense of things that you do not want on your network.
All right, wonderful. And they're asking if this is available in the Family Islands as yet.
Yes, so we have it available in Grand Bahama, Abaco, as well as Eleuthera, and New Providence, of course. So persons can get those devices on those islands.
All right. So tell us about the webinar, March 22nd.
Yes. So the webinar is March 22nd. We are very, very excited. Some of the panelists, like Danielle would have mentioned, would have been Frannon Wilson, the president of Arawak Homes, Matt Sweeting, CEO of One Oak Bahamas and Realtor. We have obviously the Minister, Honorable Joe Beth Colby Davis, the Minister of Transport and Housing. And then we have our very own, very intelligent Mr. Dwayne Davis from the Cable Bahamas Group, who is our Chief Information Officer that will all be participating as a part of this panelist. And then we also have our technical manager, Farrell Goff, that's also hosting. So all of these
Say that name again.
Farrell Goff.
Farrell Goff.
And I'm sure
Oh, man.
that persons on this call are familiar with Farrell Goff.
Well, okay.
So he will be there hosting everything. And of course, they'll be March 22nd at 6:30. We have the links and everything on the website so that you can register. We have it on our Facebook as well as Zoom for you to register to sign in. You can visit our Facebook page, you can visit our Instagram page in order to see those links and make sure that you sign up and register. Persons that register have the ability to win. We have a lot of prizes. You have $7,500 in closing costs that's coming from Arawak Homes. So they're giving that prize, yes. You also have the ability to have a conversation with the Minister of Transport and Housing. You have free RAV services.
The media would kill for an opportunity like that. But okay, all right.
You have a lot of things that's going to be provided as a part of that webinar. And persons have the ability to just win because we'll have questions. And of course, the questions will be questions that persons are interested in and interested in understanding when we look at the webinar. We want the webinar to be very interactive and very informative because persons need to stay informed in order to keep up. So we want all of our subscribers to join. And of course, if you're a RAV customer, we treat you very special. We treat you very, very special. As a part of that, we have a smart home package that's also given to persons that win with the Eero device included. So you can win the Eero device if you want the Eero device today. You can win it once you join. So there are so many things that you can get as a part of this webinar. We don't want it to be not interactive. We want persons to be able to win so many things as a part of that webinar. And it's March 22nd at 6:30. Visit our Facebook or Instagram pages, and you'll get more information on how to be a part of it.
Okay, this is wonderful stuff. Very exciting. You've inspired us here. I think we need to do a segment on this to get more information. We'll probably invite some of your panelists on to talk more about what we need to do to make sure our homes are smart and connected, and
safe.
And helping us to save money. Colette Godfrey and Danielle Smith, thank you both so much for being here with us. Great stuff.
All right.
This morning.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and be back with to wrap things up here on Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
It's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. Prime Minister Philip Davis says his administration's ability to secure a repurchase agreement with Goldman Sachs International at a 2.4% interest rate is demonstrative of international creditors having confidence in its administration. The Prime Minister's comments coming yesterday during debate on the mid-year budget. And after opposition leader Michael Pintar charged in a statement earlier in the week that investor confidence in the country's government debt was at an all-time low, Davis defending the repo yesterday, arguing that his administration has been able to secure much better interest rates than the Minute administration was able to over the course of its 4-year tenure. Potterski dock vendors who lost their stalls to fire last year could soon get the plans and material to rebuild their businesses, according to Minister of Agriculture, Marine Resources, and Family Island Affairs, Clay Sweeting. He explained that in the next 3 weeks, his ministry should have everything needed to get the structures rebuilt. And Minister of Transport and Housing, Jo Beth Colby Davis, suggesting that the Post Office Savings Bank could be positioned to assist Family Islanders in meeting their need for some kind of banking institution. Colby Davis, speaking during the mid-year budget debate, contending that the Post Office Bank, while not being able to provide a total solution to the banking woes in the farthest flung islands, could provide Family Islanders with certain services they now completely lack. In your Market Watch, recapping trading on the from Wednesday, your market movers, APD Limited moving 50 shares, closing unchanged at $39.95. Commonwealth Brewery moving 400, unchanged at $7.99. Doctors Hospital moving 4,000, unchanged at $10.06. Consolidated Water unchanged at $2.07. And Emira Incorporated moving 1,000, down 2 cents, closing at $11.25. The Basic All-Share Index closing at 2,251.00, down 0.26. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. And that is going to do it for Morning Blend Business and Morning Blend this morning. Laverne Gardner, thank you so much, as always, for being here with us.
Thank you, too. Always a pleasure.
I'll talk with you again next week. I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business here on Guardian Radio. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.